Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with another Scrapping Saturday. I went back to the page kit stuff that I shared last week. This is the second page in the page kit that Sarah has designed from Hey Little Magpie. I bought it from the crop back in November, and I pretty much carried on straight away from the video that I shared last week. I mean, this is about an hour later. Maybe 2 hours later, something like that. And we all know I'm not very good at following instructions, so I didn't follow the instructions, which was to tear the paper, and then basically you'd have two torn edges. So I ended up having to cut 2 pieces, tearing it off. Anyway, as it is, I don't end up really following Sarah's layout. I do change it up. I have all the same elements there that she has for hers in terms of, I know it's off the screen at the moment, but there's the strips. She has hers down the right side, and then there's these circle pieces or half circle pieces. So before I put the video on, I thought, how the heck am I going to do an 8-inch circle or half of an 8-inch circle? So I cut myself an 8-inch circle very roughly from scrap paper, and then I've traced around that, and that is how I'm going to create these 4/4 of a half circle. Is just by doing that. Because you end up roughing up all the edges, it really doesn't matter that it wasn't a perfect circle. It's absolutely fine. So I did it by cutting an 8x8 piece of paper, folding it in half, folding it in half, folding it diagonally, and then I basically created a circle shape. That's how I did it. So this is me roughing up all of the edges, and then I'm going to plonk the page kit to one side. So it's in my view, but it's not in frame, because I end up totally changing the layout anyway. And I've got 3 photographs that I wanted to scrap from my husband and my daughter making a snowman back in January. We don't often get huge amounts of snow in Warrington, so when we do, they insist on making a snowman. I like being inside in the warm and looking at snow. I don't enjoy going out, especially not when they start throwing snowballs. So I took lots of pictures from inside the house, including some hilarious videos, because one of the snowballs went straight down the back of Maya's coat. And at this point I decided, yeah, I don't like how it is for Sarah's with my 3 photos. It doesn't quite work. So now I am just winging it. Plus, Sarah had got one large chipboard shape that was like the Christmas tree on the car. It wasn't relevant for these photos, and I didn't want to use it. So yeah, this is now my layout. This was me looking at how has she done the string, and I don't end up doing that either. Yeah, I love Sarah's pages, but I also, firstly, don't follow instructions, but I also scrap based on the photographs that I've got. Not necessarily. I know other people will make up a page kit without even knowing what photos they're going to stick on it. I just can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. I have to know what photographs I'm doing in order to know what I'm scrapping, and then that'll guide me. So for example, does it need to be to the left? Does it need to be the right? Does it need to be the bottom, top, middle? That's how I decide. I'm not a, well, we all know I'm rubbish at instructions, but I'm also just not following along with other people's things. It just doesn't make sense because my photos are not the same as their photos. So that's how I scrap, different from other people. So I've adhered all of those bottom pieces down. I have adhered the 3 photos together, including like a matte and layer for the central photo, because that was a cut down 6x4. So I did cut it down, matte it with white and black cardstock. And I really like how this is sort of already looking. So now I'm just going to start pulling out those chipboard shapes, the ones that I think will work with this particular page. I do end up fiddling around, moving things around. I was determined to get that like bulldog clip kind of shape in there. Yeah. I have realised I didn't do the journaling on screen for this page, nor did I do the journaling on screen for the other page that I shared last week. I did do it afterwards, after I'd taken photos and all the rest of it. So yeah, apologies. I just completely sort of forgot about doing journaling. Very strange. I was also going to change up the title on this one to maybe bring in some chipboard letters or to bring in some die cut letters, but I didn't. I ended up using that Merry and Bright you can see down there on the left hand side. I do move where it is positioned, but yeah, I do end up using the Merry and Bright. So I've decided for mine to use the wax thread coming off the tag. I've added in that little scrap of ribbon to the back of my photo, and I'm pretty happy with how everything is. And now it's time for me to start adhering the next layer of stuff down. So ATG for my photos, and then lots of glue for all these chipboard shapes. They are adhesive back to these chipboard shapes, but the adhesive is rubbish and does not stick. So I advise, if you get chipboard shapes, use a bit of wet glue. All I do is I stick my acrylic block on top of it when it is drying, just to give it a chance to adhere a little bit, and then move it around to the next area and then do the same. So that is pretty much it. You can see I've already moved the Merry and Bright off the page for the moment because I'm going to fiddle with this this string a little bit, and then I'm going to use plenty of gloopy glue on the back of that, and that is going to adhere some of it in place. And then I'm just going to add some little dots of glue underneath some of the curls of the ribbon, just to kind of keep it in place. And I'll fiddle with it a little bit with my pokey tool, and then I'm pretty happy. So all I'm going to do now is add sequins. So there were no sequins in the kit, but I wanted to add sequins, and I went off camera for quite some time trying to remember where the heck have I put the sequins. And I go through various boxes and I rummage, and I eventually find the sequins. Here they are in a box where I've always kept sequins. Why was I not looking there? Don't know. So, Hey Little Magpie embellishment kits. This is actually one from July, and it's sort of like strawberry picking themed. But I thought that the reds, the greens and stuff that were in this worked. So I sort of add in a mix of a few of the different colours. Gold, the pale blue, the sort of like stripy pink. A few different colours basically went to play. And I went a little bit over the top with my sequins. Well, I'm saying over the top. I remember, I think it's that Scrappy guy. He did a fabulous one. I think it was a design team page for Kingston Crafts, and he curled and sort of like an entire kind of section of a sunburst is how I'm going to describe it, and he just filled it with sequins, and it's the most amazing page ever. And that's in my head. I don't go that mad, but this is still a lot of sequins on the page. I kind of don't know when to stop. So I take a little bit of glue on the end of my pokey tool because my glue bottle is being stored upside down because it's towards the end of its life, but it's sort of coming out quite gloopy at the moment, so I didn't want to do it directly at this point onto the page, but for this one I had cleaned up the bottle by this point and it was fine to use. So this is me coming towards the end of it. I hope you have enjoyed this. This is absolutely me totally and utterly going off piste, not doing what I really was meant to be doing in terms of what the instructions were. But I love the idea of the sort of the half circle and the way that Sarah had arranged hers. But this just worked better with my 3 photos, I thought. So I hope you did enjoy this. Please do give me a thumbs up if you did. Do not forget to subscribe. It's amazing how many people watch my videos, don't subscribe, so won't necessarily be notified when the next one's coming up. And there are more videos to come. Thanks so much for watching. For those that celebrate, wishing you a Merry Christmas this next week. And until next time, bye-bye.